Let's kick off with a story you probably never heard. The world's most important legal text, the Justinian Code, was nearly lost. Twice. After it was written, the full text vanished from Western Europe for centuries. In 1070, a nearly perfect copy of the digest resurfaced in Pisa, Italy, some say hidden from pirates. But in 1631, Mount Vesuvius erupted, threatening the very library that held it. The manuscript barely survived. If not for a twist of fate, the foundation of modern law could have been wiped out by lava. That single rediscovered book, the Littera Florentina, became the master copy for all of Europe. Its survival wasn't guaranteed. It was luck, timing, and the dedication of scholars. The digest's return didn't just revive old laws, it sparked a legal revolution that shaped the future. As we dive into what the Justinian Code is, remember, it's not just a legal text, but a survivor that changed the world. Its journey from near oblivion to the bedrock of European law is one of history's greatest comebacks. Who was behind this legal masterpiece? Meet Justinian I, a Balkan peasant's nephew who rose to rule the Byzantine Empire from 527 to 565 CE. Justinian dreamed of restoring Rome's lost glory, not just its lands, but its culture and laws. The legal system he inherited was chaos, 1,000 years of decrees, rulings, and contradictions. For Justinian, law was the glue of empire. A unified code would bring order and justice. He saw this as both a practical necessity and a divine mission. In 528, he assembled a crack team led by Tribonian to overhaul centuries of Roman law. Their task: eliminate contradictions, clarify confusion, and build a single, logical system. This wasn't a minor update, it was a total legal reboot. Justinian's drive mixed ambition, faith, and a vision for a legacy that would outlast him. Within a few years, they produced a code that would echo through history. Justinian's legal project wasn't just about his empire, it was about shaping the world. And as we'll see, he succeeded beyond all expectations. So what did Justinian's team actually create? The Corpus Juris Civilis, Latin for body of civil law. It's not one book, but four: the Codex, Digest, Institutes, and Novels. The Codex collected all imperial laws, organized and updated for clarity. The Digest, the heart of the project, distilled the wisdom of Rome's greatest jurists into 50 books of legal reasoning. The Institutes served as a textbook, teaching the basics of law to new students. The novels were Justinian's new laws, mostly in Greek, reflecting the changing empire. Together, these formed a complete legal toolkit, clear, logical, and comprehensive. The corpus wasn't just a reference, it was a blueprint for justice. The Digest, especially, became the foundation for legal education across Europe. This four-part system turned a millennium of legal chaos into order. It was a legal superstructure designed to last. The Corpus Juris Civilis became the gold standard for law in the Western world. Its influence would stretch far beyond Justinian's reign. What set the Justinian Code apart? Organization and clarity. Before Justinian, Roman law was a tangled mess. Judges had to sift through centuries of conflicting rules. The code streamlined everything. One source for laws, one for principles, one for learning. Justinian's team didn't just collect. They edited, clarified, and chose what stayed. Contradictions were resolved, archaic language was modernized, and the law became a practical tool. Justinian even banned new commentaries to keep things clear, though debate never really stopped. The code also reflected Christian values, giving more power to the church and updating family law. It blended Roman tradition with new morality, making it relevant for a changing world. The result? Old law, repackaged for a new era. The code was meant to be final, comprehensive, and accessible. It was a leap from legal chaos to a system that could actually work. This clarity and adaptability made it a model for centuries to come. Justinian's Code was law, perfected for its time, and ours. After Justinian, his code thrived in the East but faded in the West. As new rulers took over, the full corpus juris civilis was forgotten for centuries. Europe reverted to local customs and patchwork laws, far less sophisticated than Justinian's system. Then, in the late 11th century, the digest was rediscovered in Pisa, just as Europe needed it most. Cities were growing, trade was booming, and society was getting complex. The digest became the manual for civilization, sparking a legal revolution. Universities like Bologna made it the centerpiece of legal study. Scholars, called glossators, pored over the text, reviving its logic and principles. Graduates spread these ideas across Europe, building a shared legal tradition. The code's long sleep ended, and its second life began, shaping the future of law. The Justinian Code's influence didn't stop in the Middle Ages. It's the backbone of civil law systems worldwide. Most of Europe, Latin America, and parts of Africa and Asia use codes inspired by Justinian's model. The Napoleonic Code, for example, was directly shaped by the Corpus Juris Civilis. Napoleon's legal overhaul borrowed its structure, logic, and principles, then spread them across Europe. Even in common law countries, Roman law left its mark. Legal terms, concepts, and reasoning trace back to Justinian. English courts borrowed ideas about fairness and equity from Roman law. Today, law students in civil law countries still study the code as their foundation. It's not just about old rules, it's about learning to think legally and logically. The Justinian Code is the DNA of modern legal systems. Its legacy is global, shaping justice from Paris to Tokyo. How did Justinian's Code change everyday life? Start with contracts. It set clear rules for consent and obligations, forming the backbone of European contract law. Merchants across the continent relied on its principles to make deals fair and enforceable. In property law, the code defined ownership, possession, and rights, concepts central to modern capitalism. It gave Europe the legal language to build stable economies and protect property. The code also shaped ideas of state power. What pleases the prince has the force of law, justified royal authority, while power comes from the people, inspired later democracy. Even legal procedures, how lawsuits work, how evidence is handled, were systematized by Justinian's team. This shift from superstition to reasoned argument was revolutionary. The code's structure for litigation is the ancestor of modern courtrooms. Its influence is everywhere, in contracts, property, government, and justice itself. Justinian's legal logic still shapes our daily lives. Think a 1500-year-old code doesn't affect you? Think again. The Justinian Code helped define natural law, the idea of universal rights and justice. Its institutes gave clear voice to the concept that some rights are inherent and unchangeable. The Code established the individual as a legal entity with rights and responsibilities. It laid the groundwork for civil liberties, property rights, and the idea of legal personality. Even corporate personhood, companies acting as legal entities, traces back to Roman law. Most importantly, the Code championed the rule of law, society governed by clear, consistent rules, not arbitrary power. By making law public and organized, Justinian set the stage for modern justice. The promise that no one is above the law, that's his legacy. Our rights today are rooted in the soil of the Corpus Juris Civilis. We've traveled from near volcanic disaster to the legal principles shaping your life. The Justinian Code isn't just history, it's a living document debated and adapted for centuries. It gave us the grammar and structure for building just societies. The Code's rediscovery shows history is always open for new lessons. The glossators didn't just read, they argued, revived, and transformed the law. You don't need to be a lawyer to explore these foundations. Curiosity is enough. Dive into the institutes, compare legal systems, or trace the Code's influence in modern law. History isn't locked away. It's an invitation to explore and rethink. The Justinian Code is a story of ambition, survival, and world-changing ideas. Keep asking questions. The past is full of blueprints for the future, and it's your turn to build.